Okay, did everybody get the pen in? All right. My name's Chuck Conk. I'll be with you the next 5 weeks. And tonight is just an introduction to CIS124 PowerPoint. And we're going to go over discussion for the first tutorial, and then in-class exercise, and then your take-home. Now, the way the class is designed is it's going to be a capstone project you'll complete of your own. You can use a work PowerPoint for another class, for personal use. And examples in the past have been, families have done it to maybe do a lineage or historical research of their family, that far extent, all the way to how to bake a cake, how to change a tire, how to present to your peers, just a whole, historical, you can do historical, biographical, on artists, whether it be musicians, actors, actresses, movies, anything that is of interest to you that you could use outside of class. And so that's basically what you'll be thinking of this week between now and next Wednesday. As far as what you'll turn in, and we'll go over that in a second, you won't be turning in your PowerPoint each week. What we'll go over is what's called a rubric that I'll print out for you, and I'll check off after the first week. In fact, the second week, I'll start checking off on your rubric items that you've completed on your PowerPoint. You roughly have 3 to 5 PowerPoint slides to create a week. The first week, you just create your title slide, and then all the way through week 4, you should have anywhere from, say, 10 to 15 slides created, and then on week 5, you'll present to each other, basically. And so we had slated for like a 10 or 12 in here, something like that. I think it's like 12, so I don't know where everybody's at. Maybe they got lost. But anyway, this is recorded, and what you see on the overhead is being recorded, and so we'll talk about that later. And so at the end of the 5 weeks, basically, you'll have a full sheet rubric filled out that will show you what it looks like in a second. In fact, I probably won't print that out till next week, just to save paper. You can print it out at home if you want to, but we won't print it out tonight. And then on week 5, you'll present, and you'll package that PowerPoint on a CD to be able to present on any computer, basically, even if it doesn't have PowerPoint on it. Okay? Okay, what I want you to do is, if you see the website there on the right side of the board, if you'll go to that website real quick, I've got a real quick poll for everybody to take. If you could click on that, that would be great. And you'll have to enter in that room number, I believe. And it should see your name come up there. It should put your name in there as well, I believe. So when everybody's name is up there, I'll advance it. m.socrative.com, the top right corner of the screen on the up front, and then there is a name to type in, a room number. No, there's no link. You just type in that web address up there. So we should have, let's see, 6 trying to get in. I think everyone's in. And just go ahead and answer these as honest as you can. It's not for a grade, just to begin discussion and see where everybody's at. right, so it's kind of evenly spread out in here. I got 2 never used, 2 intermediate, and 2 advanced. So that's pretty spread out. It's kind of good for me to know kind of where you're at as well, because I will show some things that, because of this, that I maybe normally wouldn't show, because I see a couple, majority of you are in the intermediate advanced area, so that's great. Should get a next question up here in a second. Bless you. All right, so most of you in here for degree requirement and personal enrichment. Great. Yep, just one. Yeah, if you could just pick one on this question. I know you might have seen more or multiples or whatever. Just pick one, that'd be cool. All right, so it's kind of toss up between animations and video. You'll learn about those the next few weeks and how they're to be used. And just answer one on this as well, the most truest, I guess, that really grabs your attention. All right, so great colors is the majority here, okay? Great colors is the majority, so that means something. And precise outline and opening, not so much, right? So that tells you something about presentations, all right? So that's just a little preview for me to kind of see where you guys are at. Okay, so there's the attendance pin we talked about. If I am online anytime through the week and you want to ask me a question, when you go to the class, you see that little online chat module that's right here in the middle, the green online office, CIS124. If you see that I'm online, you can ask a question right in here, and I'll respond to you. And so that's the page you'll come to right when you come to the class. And we'll go over to the first tab, which is the Lessons tab. Getting started. You do not need to purchase your textbook. I believe I emailed everybody on that, hopefully. You got that information. And even though I'll be using it in class, you won't need to purchase one because I kind of use what the book gives plus extra stuff. Subscribe to, of course, podcasts and iTunes. We'll look at that in a second. Most of the podcasts, in fact, all the podcasts I put in each week's folder in a YouTube format. And so you'll see basically what you see in here on the overhead, you'll see in a podcast in a YouTube format each week. So if there is a week you miss or something you want to go over again and we went over in class, you can preview it in the podcast. I also put the podcast in iTunes. How many's used iTunes before? I know some of you have, but maybe you haven't, some of you haven't. iTunes, Apple has actually offered educational facilities free podcast hosting for all colleges and universities, and even K through 12 now. I think they have 800 colleges and universities. We got involved about 6 years ago. And I think we have 395 podcasts out there, and about 100,000 subscribers a month or something like that. And so what's cool about podcasting is you can subscribe to courses like in Stanford, MIT, other universities at no cost, and literally watch the lessons and the discussion and the presentations as if you were in the classroom. And a lot of students, I tell them to, if you're having struggling with a subject on campus, you can search for a podcast in iTunes, and find it, subscribe to it, and help you in your subject. So you say where your teacher's you're not getting it, you can find a podcast where you can get it, all right? And so that's a great tool for you, and it doesn't cost anything. But I'm surprised how many students really, when I first tell them about podcasts, they've heard of it, but never really used podcasting before. And so it can be beneficial, not just for the way I use it, because I use it a couple ways. I use it in live discussion and what we do in class, but I also use it for online classes, for week-to-week lessons, where I don't ever see the student, and that way they can kind of hear what I'm saying and see what I'm doing on the screen, which is kind of nice. But if you ever struggle, when you sign up for the iTunes U class for this class, CIS124, I'd recommend looking at other podcasts that are out there for you if you need help in another class, or if you want to learn something. If you want to learn another language, you can find a podcast for that. If you want to learn whatever, quantum physics, you can find a podcast for that. If you want to learn Spanish, find a podcast for that. I always share the story over and over again. You probably heard me say it before, but I'll say it again. My niece in high school needed help with Spanish, and how many took Spanish in high school? Anybody? Okay. Anybody remember Spanish? Yeah, okay. But anyway, she needed help, so we found a podcast for her, and it was like, coffee break podcast or something like that. Anyway, she loved it, and it helped her pass Spanish. And so, so any course that you're needing help with, or anything that you need, a subject you want to learn about, you can literally find a free podcast for it, which is great. Also, podcasts don't exist just for educational facilities. They also exist for entertainment. So comedy, all your favorite shows usually have a podcast. All your favorite bands usually have a podcast. And so you can keep up on all the good stuff. All the news stations generally have a podcast. And then read the course syllabus outside of class. We won't read it verbatim in here, so you can read it at your own leisure. We will read the PowerPoint rubric tonight. We will go over the About Me tonight, and we will also go over all of the week 1 assignments, which really isn't a lot, but we'll go over all those. Okay, go back to lessons and click on course documents. Okay, I'm going to go right to subscribe to course podcast. If you follow these steps, you'll subscribe to course podcast. You will need iTunes on your computer, Mac or PC. It's a free download from Apple. When you go to number 1, that link, it'll immediately prompt you to download iTunes on your laptop, desktop, whatever. Once you install it, you go to number 2, which is Rock Valley College's URL to iTunes University. And then number 3, if you've never done podcasting or heard about iTunes U, you can read the quick start guide there, just a couple pages, more pictures and text. And then you'll click on the Go to Rock Valley College on iTunes U to launch RVC on iTunes U. You'll navigate to this class, so click the subscribe button. It'll begin downloading tonight's podcast. Okay? And what it'll do is once you subscribe, you want to make sure, like number 7 says, wait till the podcast download completely before you watch it. Now, since I'm doing YouTube and iTunes U, it's really double, it's kind of a lot of redundancy. But the reason I want you to subscribe to iTunes U is really not so much for this class, because I will try to put a couple extra podcasts for PowerPoint out there this 5 weeks, because we literally meet 4 weeks, and then that 5th week you present. So I notice there's half of you that are kind of intermediate advanced. So I'll try to put a couple podcasts together that we don't have time to cover in class, that are kind of extra cool stuff to do. And that'll help you when you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes U, because I won't put those podcasts in our Eagle course. Those will only be on iTunes U. All right? So questions on iTunes U. If you do need questions, everybody in here, let me see, who have I not had before? I have not had you. Okay, so these guys on the front row and the gentleman on the back row have all had iTunes. So if you need help, you can ask them for help. They'd be more glad to help you. And you'll learn real quick when we work in class. I do, bless you. I do really encourage each other to help each other. I'm not the type that wants you to work on your own. And so being in computer class and learning a new program, it's good to help each other. So if you need help with something and you see your neighbor, if you're done with something that we're doing and you look over and your neighbor's struggling, just help them out. And then make sure, if you're on the receiving end, and sometimes this is hard to learn, to accept that help, okay? And that just goes with the territory, because you'll have to return the favor, believe me, all right? And so you might receive help one time, and you might help the person next time. So subscribe to the podcast, went over that. I don't think I updated the schedule and activities yet. I did in the main one. Well, I guess I did. This is what we're going to do each week, starting with this week. April 4th, getting started with Office 2007, creating a presentation, storyboarding and concept map, we'll go over that. You will also pick your capstone project this week, what you're going to do your presentation on. And then next week, we'll go over applying and modifying text and graphics. You'll work on your capstone project. Week 18, we'll go over presenting with special effects. This is where we get into audio, video, animations, and also integrating PowerPoint with other programs, like being able to launch Microsoft Word from PowerPoint, being able to launch websites from PowerPoint, being able to launch other applications from PowerPoint. You'll learn that. And work on your capstone. April 25th, you'll work on your capstone project that whole week. We will have some other concepts that week that you'll be working on, but mainly on week 4, you'll be working that total week on your capstone project. And then week 5, May 2nd, the final presentation of your capstone. Okay? And at the end, when you guys leave, you will actually have a CD of your project in hand to be able to view from any computer. Yeah, I might not be able to click on the, it's a PDF, I can do it. Okay. So let's go over the rubric. This is what you'll be doing. I'll be coming by and checking out on this right column over here. I'll be on the right side, the blank column on the right. I'll be putting check marks next to those columns as you complete them. And in each week's folder, you'll see in just a second, I put in there the components you are to complete that week. Okay? So as you go down here, this top portion is all the basic components worth 95 points, from modified design template all the way down to bullets and sub-bullets. And then the presentation components we actually do on week 5, the last session. You'll package your PowerPoint to a CD. I'll bring them to class for you. And you'll also print out your handouts into a notes format for PowerPoint. You will do a peer evaluation on each other, which is 15 points. And it's just like, I think, 3 to 5 questions about each other, nothing real big. And you can have extra credit as well, which I'll talk about later. So that's your rubric, basically. And each week, like I said, I'll come by literally. You'll put your name on the top of it, semester. I'll check off as we go along each week. And by the end of week 4, actually, you should have all of the basic components filled out. And only thing you'll have left to do will be the package for CD, handouts, note page, which is on week 5, and the peer evaluation is on week 5. Okay? So that's basically what you'll be doing for the capstone. Okay, go back to the course documents. Rubric notes or PowerPoint notes, that is basically just a document that goes over some highlights of each one of the tutorials. I won't click on that one. And then inserting a YouTube video in the presentation, you will be taught how to do that. In fact, that's a link to show you how to do it. One of the issues with including YouTube video in a presentation is if you package that presentation and take it put it on CD, this component does not work doing that. Okay? Now, it does work if you just take the PowerPoint file and bring it to a computer that already has PowerPoint loaded on it, then you're good to go. But we'll discuss more about that. And then the next one, converting YouTube to other formats. There's Google plugins that you can download to allow you to download that YouTube video as, say, a movie file. And then past CIS124 class examples. In fact, I'll look at a couple here in just a second in that folder. Now let's go back to the Lessons tab, and let's go to week 1. So the Capstone Project, week 1, I'm going to read that. You'll be building a PowerPoint on a subject of your choosing the next 4 weeks. The requirements are located in the rubric that we already read. You'll be updating the PowerPoint rubric each week. In fact, I'll be updating as I go by and check it. Instead of completing tutorials for PowerPoint, each week you'll just be adding content every week and submitting each week that you've done it. You've submitted and done whatever it is you're supposed to do each week. There'll be no quizzes, no midterm, no final. Just PowerPoint only. That's all you'll be working on. So by the end, you should have a really good PowerPoint to work on because that's your total focus. It's just your PowerPoint. All right, let's go back to week 1. And I'll go over the week 1 PowerPoint in just a second. Let's go down to the Capstone. And this goes over a kind of an outline of what you would do when you're storyboarding a PowerPoint. Before you do anything in PowerPoint, you're going to do some type of storyboard outline. Okay? The topic is your capstone. That's your capstone, whatever it is. How to bake a cake is what I'm going to go over here in just a second, but it could be whatever. It could be history of Rockford, history of Eisenhower School, my trip to Washington, my trip to California, family vacation, whatever. It could be a work type of PowerPoint that you're going to need to present in the near future, possibly. So you come up with your descriptive statement, number 1. Descriptive statement. In this topic, I will, whatever. I will research the history of downtown Rockford and up through from 1800 to 1945 or something like that. Okay? The intro is a reason and scope that you're doing this topic. The reason you chose it is because I'm presenting this at work in 2 months, and I'd like to get a good start on it in this class, something like that. Or I'm getting ready to have a family reunion, and I want to put together a slideshow of all of my family, or I just had a wedding, and I want to put together a slideshow of my wedding. So whatever the reason is, come up with one. And then the content. You want about 6 to 10 points in your outline from beginning to end. So like an introduction all the way down to a conclusion. And every PowerPoint will always have a conclusion. Now these numbers I just wrote up here, the 1, 14, 1, and 17. Basically, the top number 17 is just a culmination of how many slides you could have in a PowerPoint presentation for this capstone project. I'm giving an example of how to bake cake. So the 1 is basically 1 slide to your descriptive statement and your intro. 14 slides for content, 6 to 10 points, and your conclusion, 1 slide. And so 16 to 17 pages roughly, or slides easily. And that's a basic presentation. And I put over here on the left side some information as far as my main outline here for this one, which is I'm going to go over ingredients, how to mix, bake, how to serve, other dishes and toppings for the cake, and then storage. And the numbers to the right of it are actually pages designed to devote it to that. So it's going to take 1 page, 1 slide for ingredients, 2 for mixture, 2 for baking, 2 for serving, 2 to 3 for other dishes and toppings, and 2 for storage. Okay? Because each slide you'll see in just a second could have pictures and so it could take up multiple slides to describe that. So that's the whiteboard. We'll go back to week 1. And now I'll go over the week 1 about me. The week 1 about me is just that. It's all about you. You're going to create a new post in here, and you're going to type in your first and last name in the title field. You're going to copy and paste the questions below in the new post and answer those questions, post them, and then reply to at least 2 other people's posts. So name you go by, favorite food, favorite movie, hobbies, and why you're taking the class. You already know a couple of these answers globally because of the questions before class, but so just go ahead and answer those. Some of you have already posted on that. And if you see a plus left to your name, like here, Harrison has a reply by David. And so if you see a plus to the left of your name after you posted your discussion, you know somebody's replied. And the class is so small, you can read everybody's and reply to everybody's pretty quick, okay? So you have between now and next Wednesday to do this, the week 1 about me. Going back to week 1, then the week 1 assignment. And this is what we're going to do. You'll know more about this at the end of the discussion, but you're going to create a title page for your PowerPoint project. And since right now you really don't know what that topic is, you can begin creating a title page. The title page is going to have a picture of yourself, title of your project, example, how to bake a cake. You might just put in there right now, working title, if you don't know yet, okay? Add your full name, class name, and my name, and then save it as your last name.pptx. You will not be downloading or uploading this at all each week. You will not be putting your PowerPoint in the Dropbox each week. All you'll be putting is your name and the title, and you'll be putting in here, I have completed. That's it. You'll submit it because each week I'll check it. I'll literally come by your computer and check to make sure you've done it. And so you don't need to submit it just to save space. You can just say between now and next Wednesday that you've completed this. And hopefully by next Wednesday you'll already have your title already nailed down and have it on your PowerPoint. Okay? So just one slide this week is all you're doing between now and next Wednesday, which is basically your title and your name, picture of yourself, and that's it. So let me show you what it's going to look like, or what it could look like. Do not submit. Well, you're going to submit something, but you're just going to submit, I have completed below. That's it. You're just going to type in your name and then the message, I have completed. Because when I come by, I literally check it off. So you don't need to submit the file each week. But I do want you, even though you're not submitting the PPTX file, the PowerPoint file, I do want you to save it like that because that's what you'll be submitting to me on week 5 when I collect them all. Okay? Excuse me? Your last name. And the PPTX is a PowerPoint extension. It gives it that already. Yeah, the program gives it that, which you'll learn that tonight. Now, the rubric components fulfilled for week 1 is digital photo for your mugshot, text boxes added, and bullets and sub-bullets. Those 3 items are completed in your rubric for week 1. And what I'll do is I'll print those out for next week for you to have, and then check them off, put your name on everything, we'll start checking them off. So let me show you an example of week 1. There we go. Wi-Fi networks, a nice image of a Wi-Fi signal icon, my picture, and my name, and that's it. Okay? And I have down here course and professor down here. All right? That's basically all you need to do. And questions on that And we'll actually, when we go over to discussion, you'll understand more how to do this tonight. Okay, so if there's no questions, what I want to do is I want to go right into the discussion first. And while I'm going into this PowerPoint tutorial 1 on creating a presentation, go ahead and click on your Start button on your computer and go to All Programs and Microsoft Office and then PowerPoint. And open up PowerPoint on your computer screen to where you can see it. And what I'll do periodically as we're talking about tutorial 1 is I'll stop and we'll go over the screen together and what components I want you to notice in PowerPoint. So go ahead and get PowerPoint started on your computer real quick. Okay. So, creating a presentation. This is tutorial 1, and I will be stopping this periodically. We'll go over some components. This one goes over opening and viewing an existing PowerPoint presentation, looking at different views and navigating that presentation, viewing the slideshow like I'm doing on the overhead, planning a presentation, creating a presentation using the template. It also goes into editing text on slides, adding, moving, deleting slides, promoting and demoting bulleted text, spell check, research pane, speaker notes, preview and print slides, handouts, and speaker notes. So what is PowerPoint? PowerPoint is a powerful presentation graphics program that provides everything you need to produce an effective presentation in the form of on-screen slides. A slide presentation on the website, or black and white or color overheads it can print and create. Using PowerPoint, you can create each component of a presentation, the individual slides that people see on the overhead, speaker notes that people see up on the lectern or on the where they're speaking at on a table, an outline, and an audience handout as well. The components of your screen, now this is viewing PowerPoint 2007, PowerPoint 2010 that you guys have at home, and then on here, got rid of the Office button. So it replaced the Office button in 2010 with a file menu, okay? That's the only difference. And then you still have, though, the quick access toolbar. In fact, let me bring up my pointer tool here. So you've got here the quick access toolbar still. And again, the Office button in 2010 has been replaced with the file menu. It used to be the file menu before 2007, if you remember. Went back to there in 2010. On the left side of PowerPoint is all of your slide information that we'll go over in just a second. We'll actually create a real quick PowerPoint tonight in just a second. And we'll go over all these different views. In the middle of the PowerPoint screen, here on the right side that I'm circling, is a real estate where you see the slide and can begin editing that slide literally right on the presentation itself, okay? Here at the bottom right of the screen that I'm circling now, this is the area that you can view your slide in different ways. Like slide show button, like I'm viewing right now on the overhead, a slide sorter button that lets you move slides around on your presentation, and then a normal button, which is the one you're looking at right now on the overhead. That's how it looks like, normal. And then down here is Notes pane. And Notes pane in PowerPoint is actually to where I'm the presenter presenting, right? And I can see notes that you can't see on my screen. And you'll learn how to do that. Okay? And then you've got the ribbon, as in all Office apps. The ribbon, the Home tab, Design tab, Animations tab, Slides Show tab, Review, View tab, and Reference tab. So let's go and do this. I'm going to go ahead and close out of the PowerPoint here, this one I'm viewing real quick. No. And I want to go ahead and, you guys started a brand new PowerPoint. I'm going to do the same. Okay, so yours should look like mine, right? And you'll notice at the top it says Presentation 1, Microsoft PowerPoint. What you want to do first is press the Save button, or you can do Control S on your keyboard. Control S on your keyboard will prompt to save as the first time because you've not saved it yet. What I want everybody to do is click on your desktop. Now on your guys' computer, to get to your desktop, you have to click on Favorites. Then you should see Desktop. Is that correct? So go ahead and click on Favorites, Desktop, and for the name, let's go ahead and put in there right now your last name. That's what you're going to do for week 1 anyway. We'll put your last name and then file name. The type should already be PowerPoint presentation, and click Save. Then you should see the very top of your screen change to your last name dash Microsoft PowerPoint. Everybody see that? Okay. You'll notice the very first slide that it gives you in PowerPoint is a title slide, which has click to add title and click to add subtitle. All right? But before we get to doing that, I want us to go over some of the things that the PowerPoint already went over earlier. This upper right corner right here, you've got a Save button, Undo button, and a Redo button. Now, if you put your mouse over any of those, if it is able to do something, it'll be highlighted, and it'll also show you a shortcut key. Like for redo or repeat, it's Control Y. For undo, it's Control Z, even though it's not enabled on mine yet. Control S is a keyboard shortcut on PowerPoint and all Office apps to save, which I recommend doing a lot. And this very first tab that we're on right here is the Home tab. The Home tab allows you to do a number of things. Like say you go to the web and you copy a picture from an internet page, which you'll do a lot sometimes in PowerPoint. You can paste that picture right here into the slide by clicking on Paste. Or say you're in a document and you copy some text in a document, you can paste it in here as well. Now the shortcut command for paste you can see on the overhead is Control V as in Valentine. The reason it's not P as in Paul is because P is reserved for print in all Office applications. Okay? Going on here to the right side here, you can cut, you can, which is Control X, copy, Control C, and we'll go over this, I believe, in week 2, if I'm not mistaken. Format Painter, which will let you copy format in a PowerPoint and then copy it in other places. And the format would be such like bolding, font type, font style. Click on the new slide, if you would, for me, that little drop down. There's a little drop down arrow. These are all the main default slides that you would ever use in a PowerPoint. And title slide's the very first one on the top left. It just gives you 2 text boxes, a title text box and a subtitle. The next one here, and I'm just going to hover over these, I'm not going to click on any of them. The title and content gives you title, and then a content tab. The content tab allows you to add in movie, Excel graphs, images, objects, animation, and we'll do one actually here in just a second. Section header, not used too often in PowerPoint. I don't use it too often anyway. And section header is just that. If you have multiple sections, it could be used, I'm guessing, if you created PowerPoint like a textbook or something and you had different sections in there, you could use section header. To content is just like the title and content, but it gives you 2 content panes. So maybe two pictures, one on either side. Comparison will give you a comparison between the two. It's a lot like the 2 content. In fact, it's really close to the 2 content one. Title only is just add a title only one. Blank is blank. A lot of times you might want a blank slide because you want to do whatever you want to with that slide. You might just bring a picture in or pictures, plural, into that slide. or a movie. Content with comparison. You have a content slide, and you also have a comparison slide over here on the right. You guys might not have some of these on yours, maybe. I don't know.
That's what you said, I think, content with comparison.
Content with comparison, yes. Content with caption, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Content with caption. Do you have that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you'll also notice here you can duplicate slides, which we'll show you how to do in a second. You can do slides from outline. That's how I do slides initially. Like I showed you that whiteboard of how to bake a cake. I'll actually type an outline in PowerPoint before doing anything, which that's how we're going to do ours tonight. You can also reuse slides from other PowerPoints and bring them in. So that's the new slide one. Then over here, you've got different layouts available to you. Now I want to go to the font section. The font section just gives you ability to add different font styles, font type. Okay, so what I'd like you to do before we go further so you can kind of see some stuff here is where it says click to add title. I want you to just go ahead and type in for this, for tonight anyway, just go ahead and type in working title. Working title. And then the bottom text where it says click to add subtitle, I want you to type in your first and last name. And then hit the enter key after you type the first and last name. And I want you to go up to the paragraph section right here and click on the bullet right here. Just click on the bullet button one time. And you'll see a little gray bullet show up. And I want you to go ahead and type in here CIS124. Press enter one more time, and I want you to go ahead and type in today's date, April 4, 2012. And I want you to highlight all of that with your mouse, your name, CIS124, and the date. Highlight that with your mouse. And then I want you to click on this right here, the paragraph symbol that says align left, to line all the content left, where it should end up looking like that when you're done. Okay? Now what we're going to do before we go further on this is we're going to create a, I want you to go to the design tab for me real quick. And I want you to select one of these themes that's right here. There's more of them available, but just for tonight, we're just going to play with these that are available right here that we can see. Now you can click the drop down and see more. In fact, if you want to do that, you can. You don't have to just click those. I'm going to go ahead and select a theme that I like. Something different. And if you select one and you don't like it, you can go back in and select another one. Okay. Okay, I'm going to end up with this one here. All right, so go ahead and select a theme like I did by clicking again on the Design tab and Theme. And if you notice on the overhead, as you hover over new themes, it'll give you a preview before you click on it. And if you come away from it, it'll still be on that one preview or that one theme that you had selected. Okay? Let's do a Control S on your keyboard to save what you've worked on so far. Okay? What I'm going to do is write up on the board real quick a simple outline just to play around with tonight. We're going to do a simple outline. Intro. Background. Information. Pictures. And conclusion. All right. So we've got 5 items there. Okay, so just kind of look at that for a second. Now what I want you to do, if you'll notice on the left side of the screen, the outline tab, does everybody see that? Click on the outline tab for me, and you'll notice that working title that we put in there. You'll also notice your name, CIS124, and the date. Now put your cursor on the end of the date, towards blinking on the end of the date, and then I want you to hit the enter key. Okay? When you hit the enter key, you notice it creates a new bullet, which that's fine right now, but we're going to change it by clicking on the Home tab. Go and click on the Home tab, and I want you to go over here to the paragraph section in the middle of your screen on the Home tab, and there's a decrease list level. Did everybody see that? Decrease list level. Click on that button, the decrease list level. It should then create a slide 2. Everybody see that?
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to take that outline I just put on the board, and we're going to create an outline, and the outlines are going to become the title of each slide. Okay? So the first outline we have is intro. So go ahead and type in the word intro. Then hit enter, the enter key. Then you're going to type in background, information, pictures, and conclusion. After you type in the title, hit enter, it'll create a new slide. Just like I'm doing on the overhead. Okay, so what you've just done is you've created the title of each one of your slides in an outline view. And the benefit of this is you're not really worried about pictures, movies, sound, animation at this point. All you're doing is typing in the outline titles into your slides. You can always go back later, by the way, and duplicate these slides. Make more slides. Do what? Put your cursor on the end of intro on the left side in the outline. Your mouse has to stay in the outline. No, in the outline, over here on the left. Okay. Yep. Your mouse has to stay in the outline form. Then hit enter. There we go. Yeah, your mouse has to stay in that outline area, and you're good to go. Okay, you guys good here? Okay, you move back here? All right. I might have you move up next week to one of these other rows, maybe. Okay. All right, so everybody have that? And then after you've done that, go ahead and hit Control-S to save what you've done. Then what we can do is this. Put your cursor on intro, for instance. Okay? And then I want you to go ahead and hit Shift-Enter. Shift-Enter on intro. I'll do it again. Press and hold the Shift key, then hit the Enter button. Okay? When you do that, you'll notice you didn't go to the next slide. You're still on intro. Here's where you can actually put in things like bullets, or you can begin typing in text here. But you'll notice when you do that, it's still on the title part, which I don't like. So what you can do is that increase, decrease paragraph that we did earlier, if I hit increase, notice it takes away that title. If I hit decrease, it brings it back. So the best way to do it is go right to the title slide itself on intro. And by default, on my theme, it gives like an arrow for a bullet on my theme anyway. Yours is going to be different. And for here, I'm going to go ahead and type in some information. I'm going to put Y. Just some words here just to show you. Where, when, how. Okay. Now, you'll notice as we type those in, it's filling in the outline as well. Okay? Now, if you go to the background slide, there's another way to do it. Put your cursor on the end of the background slide. This time, instead of just Shift Enter, which keeps it in title, this time I want you to hit Control Enter. The Control key, press and hold the Control key on your keyboard, hit the Enter key. What happens then? Okay? It should give a bullet by default. Okay? Does it not for yours? Okay. So what are we going to do on the background? We'll go ahead and do the same outline as we've done, the same text we did on intro, just to show you. You can change all this later. We'll do why, where, when, and how. Okay? And I want you to do that on information. I want you to do that on pictures. And then we're going to leave conclusion alone.
Can we cut and paste?
You can, but look, for tonight, let's go ahead and just type it in. You can cut and paste, so definitely you could. It shouldn't take us too long, though, to type all those in. Okay, after you've typed everything I have on yours, make sure to hit Control S. And while you're finishing up, let's talk about bullets for a second. In PowerPoint, when you're planning your PowerPoint slides, you want anywhere from 4 to 6 bullets in your presentation, no more than 6, okay, bullets on your presentation. Per line, you want no more than 4 to 6 words per line. Okay? When you go beyond that, it's hard to read the text because it's so small, okay? And so make sure you all you have to remember is 4 to 6 for bullets and 4 to 6 for words per bullet. Does that make sense? That's all you have to remember. So 4 to 6 bullets and 4 to 6 words per bullet. Because PowerPoints really aren't made to be something you read. They're made to be as a guide for a talk, okay, and a discussion. It's not a research paper. It's basically a guide to discuss highlights of what you're discussing. Steve Jobs was really good at PowerPoint. What he would do is, in fact, he changed the whole scene in PowerPoint. He would use just pictures on slides. That's all he would use. On multiple slides, if you go back and watch his presentations for like a rollout of a new Apple device or whatever, it would mainly just be an image that he would show and then talk about that image for maybe 5 minutes, okay? Because when I asked the question earlier, and I didn't put it in there, I don't believe, I might have, what captures your attention? Most of you said color, okay? Pictures also capture people's attention in a presentation. A picture that is kind of a word picture that speaks volumes, more so than text. Text is really boring, okay? It doesn't capture people's attention. But you do need some text in a presentation. And what I always tell students is what you can do is the way I do presentations a lot is I'll have, for instance, a title slide with one bulleted point and then a picture. Or a title slide and just a picture. And the title is the actual thing I'm talking about. You can also do this, have your points on one slide, and then 3 or 4 slides have just on the title, like for the next slide, it'd be why, and then a picture, where, and then a picture, when, and then a picture, how, and then a picture. Okay? And so basically you just use those pictures or graphs to speak what you're talking about. Because again, it's just a guide. Now let's do this real quick. I want to go back to slide 2 and click on it. And we're going to play with here the font size. And the way to do it is, easiest way to do it is, if you put your mouse in slide 2 like mine, you'll notice a couple things. One is the cursor's blinking. The second is a text box that it's in right now is highlighted. If you press the Control-A keyboard command, it'll select all the text in that slide. Then you can easily go over to your font section and change your font to something else. And I'll go and let you change it to whatever you want it to be. I'm going to select like a Arial rounded MT bold, and I'm going to make it bigger. I want it to fill up that slide. I'm going to make it 60 points. Okay? Now, let me just show you something while you're doing yours. Look at the background slide, okay, real quick. Now look at that slide. Okay? It's much easier to read. It doesn't strain your eyes. And that's the way you want your font. You want your font size to fit your slide for the most part. And if I was to present this right now, let me show you real quick. Okay, there's the font size at 60. Here it is at the original. See the difference as far as just visually? This one, no straining at all, understanding what it means, what it says. This one, yeah, it looks like it's not taking up enough space there. Okay, so now doing Control S. Now I want to talk about some more things real quick. On the bottom right of your screen, it talked about in the PowerPoint when we were going through the discussion, one of the components was the viewer over here. I want you to click on the slide sorter view. It's the one with 4 boxes on it. It looks like 4 little box icons right here. It looks like this when you click on it. Now this is the area that you can move slides around. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and click on background, and I'm going to click and drag it in between slide 1 and 2. It's now going to become slide 2. I'm going to take pictures, and I'm going to click on it and drag it before slide 4. It's now going to become 4. Information's 5. So you can move these slides around anywhere you want to. You can just click and drag them to get used to it, because we're just playing with it anyway tonight. So as you click and drag, and the best way to learn PowerPoint is just doing what I'm doing here, playing with it and not being scared of dragging something and moving it around. It also has, you'll notice on there, the slide numbers, what number it's in. But what's really cool about it is, and we'll actually learn this next week, we'll do a little bit tonight, from this view, you can do transitions, animations, timing, everything. So let's practice with that real quick. Go ahead and click on slide 1, your working title slide, and let's go to transitions, okay? Transitions are the thing that happens in between slides, okay? Like for instance, in a movie, you've got the MGM lion that comes up, and then you've got maybe it goes from that transition to maybe a cityscape or something that it's viewing in the movie. So transitions are important in PowerPoint. Okay, a lot of students don't think they're that important, but it really is kind of important. And PowerPoint has some really cool transitions in here to help you. And I'm just going to show you real quick, and then I'm going to have you do it. I'm going to have you put a transition, a different one on every single slide. Here's the transitions, okay? Over here, you can add sounds to every slide as it comes in. You can tell how long that sound's going to last, and then you can apply that sound to every slide, or that transition to every slide. So for instance, if I click fade, and I come over here and do apply to all. Now watch. I'm going to go ahead and play this PowerPoint by clicking on the slideshow. And by the way, slideshow can be started here or the F5 key on your keyboard. Okay, now watch. I'm on working title. I'm going to hit the space bar. See how it faded in? And it's fading into every one of the slides as I hit the space bar. Okay, that's a transition. So that's apply to all. I can do that. Now I can also do this. I can press on each one of these, slides and put a different transition on there or an alternate transition. I always recommend doing alternate. So say if you have a cut, then the next one's a fade. So maybe this one's cut, this one's fade, this one's cut, this one's fade, this one's cut, and then the final one's fade. So cut, fade, that should be fade, cut, fade, right? I'm going to hit slideshow. That's cut. It's a lot faster. Fade, cut. See how cut's a lot faster than the slideshow, or than the cut's much quicker, like a knife, than fade. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and let you select one by one. Well, first of all, you can do like I did earlier, select one of these, and then you can do apply to all. Hit the F5 key on your keyboard to see that presentation, and you can hit your spacebar key, you can click your mouse button, you can do the right arrow key to advance. When you get to the end of your presentation, which is the conclusion slide, it'll show you this right here, end of slide. Click exit, click to exit. You just press any key and it's basically going to exit it, okay? So you can do the apply to all, and then secondly, what I want you to do, once you do the apply to all, click on every individual slide and apply a different transition. And you can just, you can just apply different ones just to see what they look like. Now, as you click on the transition, I don't know if you noticed, it does give you a preview of that transition for you. And so if you don't like it, you can, and there's actually other ones here to play with. All right? So do Control S after you've done that. Once you're finished, go ahead and click on the conclusion slide for me. And I want you to go to the sound in the timing and select applause. Okay? And then you can hit the play slideshow button right here, and it'll preview that applause sound clip. Now, sound can be built-in sound that Microsoft has already in PowerPoint. You can also loop the sound. Other sound you can select and actually browse out to find MP3 files, WAV files, things of that nature that you want to add to your sound. You want to be kind of sparingly use sound. None of you said sound, I don't think, it doesn't really impress people. Sound doesn't. It's kind of cheesy. But you know how to do it if you want to. I have seen sound used, and say you go to a conference and a company has a public kiosk of their PowerPoint running, kind of looping all the time. You might see sound in that type of situation. Okay? And that's about it.
My mom does work, and she does her.
Yeah.
Dramatic. She does really dramatic because she does really dramatic presentations.
Right.
She's like, watch it, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Yeah, a lot of time in corporate environments, they like that because it captures people's attention as they're walking by the booth.
Yeah.
You want something to stop people to see it. So yeah, it's important for that. And that's why it's there for, and you can, there's a lot of different sounds you can choose from, not from just annoying applause. You can do, a whole bunch of, some of these I don't know why they're in here, but, they've been in here for years. They've not gone anywhere. I've seen kiosks, like cash register at the end when it talks about cost of an item. And then it goes to that slide, and then it shows you the cost of whatever that item might be. Okay? So that's slide transitions. Now let's do this. You'll notice there's one called Reading View. If you click on the Reading View, what it does is it gives you some navigation stuff down here. You see that on your reading view? Where you can navigate. It also gives you a menu. And so basically with reading view, it keeps that viewer slide open for you to navigate. To exit this, just hit the escape key. Now, let's talk about advancing slides. Go ahead and do an F5 key on your keyboard, the top row F5. Okay, now I'm going to show you some tricks here I'm going to end with some tricks. I always try to end with tricks for you to apply. Okay, a lot of times during presentation, you want people's attention and you don't even want them to look on the overhead, this because it can be distracting sometimes. And so you can just hit the B key on the keyboard in this view. Make sure you've hit the F5 key on your keyboard. Hit the B key on the keyboard and notice what happens. Your monitor goes black. Hit the B key again, it brings it back. You hit the W key, white. This is nice for a boardroom that's dark. This gives a nice view to maybe go get coffee while while this light's on. This kind of serves as a light in the room. And then W again brings it back. The other thing that's kind of cool is with your mouse, you can right-click on the screen. And I actually did this earlier tonight when I started discussing tutorial 1. And go to pointer options, and then say, go to pen. If you go to pen, you can actually begin circling items, and if you had a tablet of some type, you could, do some drawings or whatever. And what's cool about this is it lets you highlight items. That's the pen. You can go to all of them, by the way, if you want to. Highlighter does a highlight like that. Let's see here. You can change ink color, eraser. I can click on the eraser and it'll get rid of what I've done prior. And then on the arrow options, it can be automatic, visible, or hidden, meaning they're not going to see the arrow at all on the screen. Okay? Generally, this one I use, the highlighter, it looks a little bit, after you highlight something anyway, it looks a little bit better sometimes than a pen. Okay? Now, to advance your slide, you can do the right arrow to go next. You can go and do that with me. Left arrow can go back on your keyboard. But most of the time, you're just going to go forward, hopefully, and not go back. But if you're just going to go forward mostly, you can hit the spacebar key. That works. You can get remotes that do it also, remotely. Spacebar key, spacebar key. Finally, the conclusion slide, you'll let it stay there. It'll generally have on the conclusion slide something like any questions. And then what's cool about it is once you end the slide presentation, it says click to exit. It should prompt you, which I canceled right through it, I believe. It should prompt you to save that drawing, which I said yes. And what it does is it literally saves that drawing in the presentation. And you can actually send that to people if you're doing like a brainstorming thing in a conference room. Because I purposely put blank slides on a presentation for brainstorming purposes. You can do that as well. And that works really nice. And in those type of settings, what I do recommend doing, if you do a brainstorming thing with whiteboard like that, I recommend one of these. You can pass that around real quick. It's just it's a bamboo touch. You can write basically with your finger, or they do have pens you can get to write with. Okay. All right, let's go back to, I'm going to end with these tabs here, because a couple of these we didn't go over tonight, because that's basically what the intro goes over on the tutorial 1. The Insert tab in PowerPoint, lets you just do that. Insert picture, clip art, a screenshot of your monitor, a photo album on your computer, different shapes and charts from Excel spreadsheet. It lets you bring in text, like a text box, header and footer, word art. Thank you. It also lets you bring in date and time, objects, equations from mathematical equations. You can even build your own. And then we actually begin showing a little bit of this next week, video and audio. It lets you bring in that into your slide. And then transitions, we went over that. Animations. If I go back to my slide sorter view and double click on, say, this slide here, and then see where it's highlighted why, where, when, and how, that text box. If I click on this fly in, you'll notice how it does what's called progressive disclosure. It's actually for week 2 when we do this, but progressive disclosure just does that. It brings in items one at a time as you're talking about it. And so as you're talking about this slide and you're talking about one point at a time, there's only one thing that comes in. Then you decide by a click when the second one comes in, the third one comes in, and the fourth one comes in. Comes in one at a time. And that's actually called progressive disclosure. That's animations. The slide pane or slideshow pane, this actually lets you start your slideshow manually. The way I generally start a slideshow is the F5 key. But if you want to start it from a current slide you're on, like this one right here, you can click this, or the way I generally do it is the Shift F5, the Shift Control, the Shift F5 key actually lets you present from that slide you're on. So if I'm on information, I can do Shift F5 and it brings up just the information. So it's a lot quicker doing it that way than going to slideshow and then figuring out what I need to click on. So shortcuts are really good to learn. So far tonight in shortcuts, you've learned Control S to save, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Also, Control Enter in an outline form, you can add a new bullet point. And F5 key starts a slideshow. Shift F5 key starts a slideshow on the slide you're currently on. The W key whites out the screen. The B key blacks out the screen. Progressive disclosure for animations. And then review lets you go in and do spell check on a presentation. Because your presentations generally aren't too wordy, you really won't use that much, but it's a Microsoft product, so it will have spell check in there just to help you. And then the view, I really don't use the view too much here in PowerPoint because everything's down here at the bottom right that I use. Okay, bless you. I don't generally use this. The only time I use this view is when we go to week 5, when I'm setting up my handouts. If I want to print out handouts of my master slides, I'll do it here, and that's about it. Okay? So, one last thing, and then we are done. I wanted to go to one of your slides here. Oh, I know, the working title slide. Go to the working title slide. And for week 1, you guys have to bring a picture into the title slide. I wanted to show you how to do that real quick. All you need to do is click on the Insert tab, click Picture. You'll browse out to find the picture that you're inserting. It'll bring it right into the slide. And then what's cool about it is it gives you formatting tools within PowerPoint that you can apply different types of formats to that picture. Like this gives like a shadowy effect to it. It gives like a shadowy effect to that slot, to that picture. And so basically that's it. Inserting picture. Now if you get your picture online like through Flickr or you have a photo site, you can copy the picture from the website. Just right click and copy it and then go into PowerPoint and just paste it. It'll go right into the slide. Okay? It'll paste it right into the slide. And so Control S. So let's go back to week 1, just to recap here. It's actually faster for me to go over it like I did with PowerPoint. That's generally how I do it. I start out with the books tutorial, but then I jump right into hands-on because you guys get more out of it that way, I think, than just reading the PowerPoint. So let's go to week 1 for the class. So between now and next week, you are going to complete the About Me, week 1 About Me, the week 1 assignment, which is the title slide. And I think I have an example here in the title slide. Concord.ppt there. There it is, how to bake a cake. The cake, there's a mugshot, course information to kind of show you exactly what you need.
You said you
All right.
don't want us to actually submit the PowerPoint.
No, what you'll do is, yeah, it's a good question. What you're going to do basically, I used to have students do that, but it was really, you didn't need to because I check it anyway each week. So just put your name in the title, and whenever you do get it completed between now and you actually have from tonight till next Wednesday when you come to class to do it. So, you know, if you wanted to wait till Wednesday next week when you came in to type it in and submit it, that's fine. Or you could do it Sunday. It's not going to take you that long to create a title slide. What's going to take you the longest probably is coming up with a capstone title for your project, right? And an outline, okay? Coming up with a capstone title and an outline. And just if you want to look at this whiteboard like we went over earlier, that's going to help you because the whiteboard will show you what you're needing, which is a title, a descriptive statement of this is why I'm doing the capstone, and then 1 to 6 points. Yeah.
How do you check it then if you do it? Do you just
I come by your computer every Wednesday, have you fire up your PowerPoint and show it to you, and you show it to me. Now on the rubric, I'll print the hard copy of that out next week for you, but if you wanted to print it out yourself and bring it to class, you can. But if you don't, I'll have them printed out for you when you come to class next week. And generally what you'll do is you'll check off, I'll have you check off what you've done. I'll verify you've done it and initial it. And that way by the end of the 4 weeks, you'll have all those items checked off. Because for week 1, you are going to have a digital photo, text box, bullets and sub-bullets. Now, if there's other items in there you add that fits the criteria for the components in the rubric, you can check that off. Because once you've completed a rubric, you don't have to go back in and check it again if you've added it to another slide. Because a lot of these components you'll be using over and over again, okay? Like text boxes, bullets, progressive disclosure, which is basically things coming in one at a time. Pictures, you'll be doing a lot, images. Videos, generally not so much. You might have 1 or 2 videos in your presentation, that's about it. And that's it. So any questions on week 1, what is due, or any questions in general on what you're doing the next 5 weeks, I guess. Okay, remember, no quiz, no midterm, no final. You're not turning anything into me each week. I'm going to come by and literally check it on your computer. I always tell students, which most of you have these already, but save your file on a USB drive, bring it to class, and then you can also email it to yourself as well, your PowerPoint. But if you keep it on a USB drive, it's going to help you. I always tell students to keep your file in 3 places. Email it to yourself, and most of you have more than 1 email anyway, but you can email it to yourself a couple times, or at least once, put it on a USB drive. That way, this happened to me before many times, and it saved me. You go to presentation, you put your USB drive in, the file doesn't work, whatever. It's corrupted or whatever happens, all right? You go to your email, there you go, you got it. And so always have a backup, even when you come to class, have it on your USB drive, and definitely email it to yourself. That way you've got both copies. You guys have your Rock Valley College email you can use. I don't know, can you guys email yourself in Eagle? Have you tried that? Has anybody tried that before? I don't know if you can. If you can email yourself in Eagle, do that. At least do that. That'd be great. And that's it. So that's week 1, introduction to CIS124. If you have any questions, see me before you leave. Remember to post or to subscribe to the course podcast. I'll have this in iTunes or in a YouTube format anyway before you guys get home and in week 1. In fact, you'll see here in week 1, and you'll see them in every one of the folders. You'll see a week 1 or week whatever podcast, and it'll say posted after class. That's where the YouTube video is going to go, where it says posted after class. Okay? And so if you want to go back and watch something again, or you didn't quite get how we did something, because sometimes I go a little fast, I know, and I try to slow down. But with this smaller class, we can get a lot covered in a small period of time. So it's really nice. All right, so any questions? All right, we are done. Welcome to CIS124. Have a good time and enjoy creating PowerPoint.